Welcome to Exception Seekers, the show where we challenge conventional views on youth mental health and explore stories and experiences that offer alternative perspectives. And today I sit down with Aly Bird, a registered psychotherapist who specializes in grief and loss. She has supported teens, young adults, and families in therapeutic settings since 2018. She's the author of Grief Ally, a speaker and a passionate advocate for building grief literacy and compassionate support. So here is my conversation with Aly. Being a young person can be tough. Raising a young person can be tough. Whether it's school stress, family dynamics, or navigating challenging emotions, everyone needs the right support. That's where Sound Youth Counselling comes in. We specialize in helping children ages 4 and up through individual, parent, and family counseling tailored to meet each person's unique needs. From tackling tough issues at home or school to providing customized workshops and professional development for teachers and community leaders, we're here to make a difference. At Sound Youth Counselling, we believe young people deserve a safe, welcoming, and accepting space to grow and thrive, and every family deserves the tools to support them. If you're looking for support, visit soundyouthcounseling.ca and see how we can help. Sound Youth Counselling, empowering individuals, supporting families, and building stronger communities. Aly, welcome.
Thank you.
I'm so glad we were getting the chance to sit down and do this. And you are, so you're in Toronto?
I am in Toronto, yes.
This is where, okay. Got it.
This is where I am.
Yeah. So I was thinking, I know we'll kind of get into some of the grief work you do. And I mean, the book you wrote, I'd love to hear about that too. Like there's so many different pieces and sort of your journey to get there. So maybe we could start with what it is you're doing now, and then we can kind of work backwards to how you ended up doing this.
Yeah. So right now I am a therapist in private practice, and I work mostly with young people, young adults navigating life after a traumatic loss. So sometimes that's the unexpected or very sudden death of a parent or someone very close, but an interesting niche that I think gets overlooked a lot is really young partner loss. So losses of boyfriends, girlfriends, unmarried couples, people who, had this whole life planned out ahead of them and then have it taken away by the death of their person. So in that world, I do EMDR. I, sit with people through some of that really, really hard stuff. And then we do the work later too. So I have a little bit of a niche in, dating after the death of a significant other, which is a really fun topic to dive into. Navigating wedding planning without a parent.
Yes, those milestone events that come up too. Yes, where there's like the highlighted absence.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. And things are not going the way that, these young people thought their life would go.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how did you come to do this? Because I think it's interesting because grief and loss and kind of like holding space for those people in those moments. I see it as like a niche, as a specialty, as something that like you really have to get into. Although I know there's lots of people who will say like we also do grief,
Totally.
Like I think it's kind of one of those like border pieces that people say they do. 100%. So as someone who's like in it and is saying this is like the space I want to occupy therapeutically, how did you get into that?
So it's a very personal story. When I was I did well, we've got time. So I'll get back to the roots.
We've got lots of time. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. So I actually had a whole career. I have another master's degree in urban planning. And I was really interested in the intersection of like our built environment and public health, and how do we make our people like the places where people live influence how healthy the population is. So I did a lot of like really cool work around like walking and cycling.
Right.
Got to do a lot of really cool stuff. Then I met the love of my life, and we got the opportunity to move to BC. And
Okay.
when I moved to BC after living in Toronto, I didn't have the job that I had when I was in
Mm.
Toronto. And I was
Mhm.
like, wow, I'm actually don't like this work at all. I liked working on these like cool walking and cycling projects.
Yes.
But all the other stuff about the industry, I'm like, I'm so bored.
Right.
So I had a
Okay.
bit of like a quarter life crisis, being like, what do I do with the rest of my life? And I actually really fell in love with psychology,
Mm.
like what makes people who they are,
Yes.
and how do we help them be the people that they want to be. So
Mm.
I was on the way to like building that career when Will, the love of my life, died in a hiking accident.
Oh my
So I
gosh.
was
Okay.
30, he was 29, and I was like thrown into the world of grief without any understanding of what it was like to live with a life-changing loss. And
Yeah.
before that, I thought grief was a feeling. And if you just
Mm.
felt it enough, let it happen enough, that it would dissipate and disappear.
Mm.
Uh, and
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
I quickly realized that that assumption was very wrong.
Yes.
Uh,
Okay.
and so
Mm.
I first took on the book project. I didn't think that, I had the intention of returning to school, becoming a psychotherapist. I didn't think grief was going to be my niche.
Okay.
I wasn't quite sure what it was. It was a lot of ideas, but I was like, I'm not
Yeah.
going to be the girl whose, partner dies and then she becomes a grief therapist.
Right.
Um,
Okay.
but in the process of my own grief and in writing the book, it became very clear to me that we really live in a grief illiterate world. And there are all these people who
Mm.
are living on the other side of life
Mhm.
changing losses, who are
Mhm.
just screaming, being like, please understand me. Please don't
Mhm.
leave me behind. Um, and I am the kind of person who loves, a good fight. And so I joined the team, and
Yeah. Okay.
that kind of brings me to where I am today.
Yes. I it's so yeah, it's like those moments that just kind of tweak our path slightly, and
100%.
yes. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
And
yes, and to have to like experience that loss when it's the like not that grief, not that a loss is ever easy,
mhm.
but I think there's a difference in how we see them sometimes, depending on age and circumstance. And like I think it's all a little different. I don't know, I think,
100%.
and
Yeah.
and yeah, to have to go through that yourself, but then use that for what you're doing now. That's cool. Like that's really
Yeah.
special. Yeah.
Yeah. And it gives me, I think, a unique experience of,
Mm-hmm.
it's not just witnessing and validation. Like, it is real empathy that I can bring to the work
Yes.
that I do, right? Like, I can sit with someone and be like, your grief isn't going to be, your grief is not going to scare me, right?
Right.
I have been there. Like,
Yes.
I have walked through it too.
Yes.
And this is a really, really hard road, but like, you're not alone.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm-hmm.
I find that so meaningful. I am in no way, I say it all the time, like, I really love who I am now because of what has happened to me. I
Mm-hmm.
love the work that I do, but I am in no way grateful for how I got
Yeah.
here.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I like that way of framing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. But
Yeah.
you said grief illiterate, just
Mm.
as a society.
Yeah.
Is that like a Canadian society thing? Do you think that's just like a worldwide thing?
I
Like, have
think
you
it's I think
found
it's a Western world
Western
thing for
thing?
sure. For sure. There are
Yeah.
definitely like some cultures that do grief beautifully.
Mm.
um, Indigenous
Okay.
cultures, all that stuff. I think the Western world, and particularly like capitalism, if we want to go there today, is
Okay.
like, if you acknowledge that you're gonna die one day, then you have far less incentive to stay on this like treadmill of like
Mm.
making money, right? And
Right.
then the
Yes.
economy slows down and we're in
Right.
trouble. So
Right.
to keep things moving, we
Hmm.
have to like assume that, oh, it's way off in the distance or it'll
Hmm.
never happen. Maybe I'll be the one who beats all the odds.
Yes.
Right. It's like
Yes.
grief is very counterculture. It's very slow. It's very like non-productive. It's very much
Hmm.
like being with and being very present.
Hmm.
um and I think that's part of like how you learn to live with it. But yeah, we live in a world that doesn't really allow for a lot of that often.
Yes. Yeah, or you're right, or want to, because if people started to think like, hold on, if things are finite, well, they are, but if we recognized it differently,
Yes,
then how do I spend my time? And
exactly.
yes, that reevaluation would probably change a lot for people.
I think it would. I think it
Yeah.
often does, honestly, like for people who have lived through like really terrible things, like it makes you reevaluate your priorities and consider your own mortality. And like you watch
Hmm.
people who are like kind of living for themselves rather than like, all the expectations of
Yes.
society. I'm sure there's like a bigger story about why it is that they do that.
Yeah, yeah. Sure. Yes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so like when you were going through your experience,
Mm.
um, was it kind of in recognizing that like there wasn't much there? Like, is that sort of why you've come to say like I think it's that young adult age, it's even like dating after, like was it sort of a just severe lack of support that you found or
Yeah, I mean, I feel like young loss is particularly like disenfranchised just because there is
Mhm.
no like larger. I mean, children's grief is different. Children's grief is getting a lot of recognition, and particularly right now, like the
Yeah.
government just gave the Children's Grief Alliance like a whole bunch, like not a whole bunch, but like quite a bit of money to like start
Okay.
studying like children's grief, and looking at it. And there are supports
Okay.
for bereaved kids, but there's kind of like this like missing space around
Yeah.
young adults, because you can use the word like widow or widower and you get the image of like someone who's retired and like has gray hair and all this
Totally.
stuff, right? And
Yes.
if
Yes.
you're 23, 27, 32, like even
Hmm.
40, right, you don't necessarily feel like you fit in.
Hmm.
um and so to have,
Hmm.
I mean, I struggle being
Yes.
like, even to like, how do I find those people? But
Yeah. Right.
they exist. Like people are dying all the time and they're not dying
Yes.
in isolation, right? There are people around them that love them, that care about them, that are not full grown adults,
Hmm.
older adults.
Hmm.
um but then even beyond like the population itself, like I had a therapist very early on in my journey suggest that I like go find community, because I was now living with something that was very different than my peers. And that kind
Hmm.
of like really hit a chord with me. Like
Hmm.
I joined like a whole whack of Facebook groups, because this was also like right on the edge of COVID, that Will
Okay.
died. So
Okay.
I joined a whole bunch of widow Facebook groups, and the stories that I was witnessing were like 70% like venting about people in their lives who were making them feel like forgotten, left
Mm.
behind, feeling completely misunderstood by like their existing
Right.
communities. And it just was like really infuriating to me. That's like, I have 30 years of friendships and you're telling me to go make new friends in like the worst moment of my life. Like it
Right.
just seemed really unfair that like I had to put this labor in to like make new connections so that I didn't feel alone in this.
Yes.
um and so that's kind of what inspired me
Hmm.
to write the book. um so the book is called Grief Ally: Helping People You Love Cope with Death, Loss, and Grief. And it's really
Hmm.
like a very short, quick guidebook to the answers of like, what do I do and how do I help when you're caring for someone who is bereaved,
Yes.
with a lean on like traumatically bereaved, like an
Yes.
unexpected loss.
Yes.
So that, those people who, like me, who are at the epicenter of a tragedy don't have to go and make new connections. Like there are people
Hmm.
around them can be like, okay, this is how I show up. This is how I like maintain this
Yes.
relationship with you as you grow and change through this loss, which will
Yes.
inevitably change you.
Yes.
Um,
Yes. And you're
and
right, though, at certain ages, your peer group won't have experienced it.
exactly.
And so then
Yeah.
it's, yes, so new. And then, yes. they don't have that to
Mm-hmm.
rely on to like help them go through it. Yeah.
Yeah. But I'd even say like, even like the older you get, like I've heard people, in their 70s who are like, my people around me don't get it.
Wow.
Right.
Right.
Like, I think that's part of like the grief illiteracy thing is like we have this,
Mm.
you know, we don't talk about death. At least in the
No.
Western world, we don't talk about it, right? It's like
No. No, it's
we
like
send
quite
some
intention.
flowers,
Yes, it's like
yeah,
quite
and a
intentionally
card.
avoided.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly. Like if we talk
Yes.
about it, it's going to happen to me.
Yes. And we only talk
Yeah.
about it if it has happened to somebody.
Yes,
Never in
exactly.
like, yes.
Yeah, and then we only
Yes.
talk about it for a few months, and then we kind of like tiptoe around it for the rest of time.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so
Yes.
I think there is skill building to be had at like every milestone and generation,
Yeah.
in terms of like, it is okay to talk about, it is okay to talk about people who have died. It's okay to ask
Mm-hmm.
someone like, how is their grief today? um
Mm-hmm.
and by doing that, like,
Mm-hmm.
they're like really simple things, like they might feel
Right.
uncomfortable for you, but like it's a really courageous act to be able to be in a moment with someone and say like, hey, like, I want
Yes.
to talk about this if you're open to talking about it, or
Yes.
I'm willing to talk about this if you want to.
Yes. Yes. Just acknowledging that, like, maybe the event is past, but like the feelings are still so present. But
Absolutely.
we kind of like peter off our
Mm-hmm.
awareness, recognition, checking in after certain
Yeah,
times, right? And then, yeah, but it's
exactly.
that person's still feeling it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Still feeling it, and like there's so many secondary losses that come with like that primary
Mm.
loss of the death of a person, and those secondary losses can like come with like just as much like bodily sensation, thoughts, and feelings, but it doesn't get the recognition that like the death of a person does,
Okay. Do you
right?
have some like examples? If someone's thinking
um
like secondary loss, like,
yeah, I mean, like there's just some bigger ones, like if you have to move,
mm,
because your partner died,
okay.
or
Yes.
something, or even like not even having to move, like you choose to move, like you're leaving the home behind,
Yes.
right?
So leaving what was a shared space
Yes,
where they
yes,
existed. And then,
exactly. Yeah.
yes.
Or like small things like starting a new job, or like changing something about your career,
Yes.
or even like happy
Mm.
things, like when I published my book, like Will always told me, he was like, there are many moments throughout it, he's like, you should write a book, like I'd say something, he's like, you should write a book about that. And then when I
Yeah.
actually wrote a book, I was like, oh, like he would have been really proud of me,
Yes.
to do this. So it's like a
Yes.
bittersweet
Right.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
If someone's like, if someone's listening, and I mean there's a book, so we'll like reference the book
Sure.
because people
Yeah.
get, ideas, but if someone's listening and they're like, okay, so like what would I say or do if I if I have a friend or I know someone who's had a recent loss, or
Mm.
because I maybe haven't said anything because I just haven't known what to say, or like what are some like kind of starting pieces where you'd say like ideas for people if they're just really not sure what to do?
Yeah, I mean, I think my I have kind of have like a guiding principle is like, whether it's saying something, whether it's doing something, the goal should be, how can you make this person's life easier and more comfortable?
Hmm.
And that can be like metaphorically speaking, or it can actually be like physically, how do you make their life easier and more comfortable?
Okay.
So say, your friend lost their partner, you're having some sort of like party at your place, you invite them, you offer the invitation to be like, hey, I would love for you to come. I also recognize like it might be really hard to be
Hmm.
in a big group of people. If you want to like leave at any time without saying goodbye, don't even worry about it. Or like come
Right.
empty handed. You don't have to bring anything.
Yes.
Um,
Hmm.
like help them out that way.
Yes.
Um, and then also just
Hmm.
like, I think, be the person who does the hard things first. So when I say that, I mean, like, if you are in conversation with someone, you're having a laugh, I have a great friend who did this for me. So she's like, she would call me, we'd joke about things for, 10, 15 minutes. And then she would say, hey, I recognize we're only talking about like easy, lighthearted stuff right now. She's like,
Yeah.
I'm happy to keep talking about this, but if there's something bigger or heavier that you want to talk about today, like
Mm.
we can do that.
Mm.
And that was like so generous on
Mm.
her part.
Yep.
It also like she was the one who took the lead, right?
Yep.
I didn't have to be the one who did the
Yes.
hard thing first. It's hard
Yes.
enough existing in a world like where you're like constantly like comparing it to what was,
Yes.
um
Or what you thought it would be.
or what you thought it would be exactly.
Yes.
So yeah,
So
do the
open,
hard thing first.
open the
Open,
door.
yeah, open the door,
Do the
and
hard thing
they
first.
can
Yeah.
take it or leave it, right? Like
Right.
maybe they
Yes.
don't want to talk about it that day, and that's totally fine.
Yes.
But continuously offering the invitation so that you
Mm-hmm.
send the signal, be like, hey, I'm a safe person to do this stuff with,
Mm-hmm.
and be really
Mm-hmm.
meaningful.
Yes. Oh, those are, yes, I like those ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is most of your work virtual or do you do,
I do a little bit of both.
okay.
I do quite a bit of virtual, but then I also have an office in Toronto, so I can see people there. I've
Okay.
also more recently been doing EMDR intensives, which are a good
Mm.
option if somebody's like, lives a bit further away and wants to come and do like a more like
Oh, I see.
concentrated piece of work. So it's not like, coming into the city every
Right.
week. It's like come into the city once a month.
Yes.
And sit
Okay.
with them together.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, I was thinking, I mean, we could talk a lot about this too, which we can come back to, but I also just think it's like so interesting kind of people's journeys to finding where they are, especially
Mm-hmm.
when you've kind of like carved your own path to do
Yeah.
it, you know?
Yes.
And and switching from urban planning, social
Yeah.
planning,
Yeah.
um, to psychology. Did you ever have psychology in the back of your mind when you were doing the urban plan? Like, what drove you to urban
Mm.
planning to start?
I like to say that I've always cared about people, but the scale has just changed.
Oh, okay.
So, I
Yeah.
as a young person, I was like, I'm gonna save the planet, like,
Yeah.
climate change. And then
Hmm.
the planet, just the scale was way too big.
Yes. It was ambitious.
It was very ambitious, as a
Yeah.
teenagers are.
Yes.
Yeah, so undergrad was more like, climate change, environmental studies, and then
Okay.
later in my undergrad, I discovered planning, and I was like, oh, at like a city scale, this seems more
Mm.
manageable.
Yes. And where did you do
Um,
your undergrad?
I did my undergrad at Carleton in
Okay.
Ottawa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Yes.
then, yeah, city planning. Okay. So world to city.
World to city. And
Yes.
then citywide, yeah, from the city, I was like, what down to like the human scale.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Right. And and so your journey west
Yes.
was that for school?
No, the journey west. So Will was a member of the Canadian Forces.
Okay.
Um, so he got posted
Got you.
to Comox on Vancouver Island.
Oh, oh, beautiful.
Yeah, beautiful. And I was at a place in my life where like I was looking for an adventure, and I was like, okay, I'll go too. Um,
Right.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And we had a gorgeous life out there, honestly. It was like, yes, like that, let's make BC our home. We would like
Mm-hmm.
mountain bike and rock climb and, do all these gorgeous hikes. It was
Yes.
skiing. Ugh, dreamy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I imagine like, and if you'd been doing things with like, bike trails or how are people active or
Yes.
what I mean, I just I've never lived in BC. I have spent time in BC, but
Mhm.
and my time there has always struck me of just people living that life of so
100%.
outdoor based, like in
Very outdoor
whatever.
based.
Hmm.
Yeah, you want to talk about, people who are like more mindful and like of like how do I want to spend today versus how do I want to spend, my life in 30 years. I think
Yeah.
like the experience on Vancouver Island was very much that, like, how do I make enough money so that I can still mountain bike every day?
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
it was the
Yes.
vibe.
It does
Um
have that. Yes, it does hold that vibe too.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
which is great. And
Yeah.
I love it for those folks.
Yes.
But that is a big question, is like, how do you make enough money to mountain bike every day? Um
Hmm.
and so when Will died, I did try to like make a go of it
Okay.
in BC on my own.
Yeah.
But it was honestly because of if Will had not have died, so he died in November of 2019. And so, March 2020 was really like I was kind of gaining
Right.
the stamina to be like, okay, I think I can like go out into the world again. And then the
And
world shut down,
the
right?
world's like, no,
Exactly. The
no.
world said, stay home.
Yeah.
um
Yes.
and it was really hard, to be honest. Like
Yes.
I had some good friends, but the majority of my friends were in Ontario,
Hmm.
along with my family.
Hmm.
And it was, yeah, it was really, really hard, to
Hmm.
be in isolation by myself. And
Hmm.
then, I went back to school, and, I was like, do I do practicum in Ontario, or do I do it in
Right.
BC? And the the idea was, I've tried really hard out here, and if
Hmm.
this was a actual like relationship with the person, I think I would have ended it a long time ago.
Oh,
um
yeah. Okay. That's
and
what,
so
yes.
I decided to come back to Toronto.
Yeah.
And I told myself, if I could make a go of things like in Toronto and be okay, I can vacation in BC anytime that I want.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm really happy that I came back.
Yes.
I'm far less lonely, and loneliness can be like so
Yes.
debilitating,
Yes.
especially in grief, which is already an isolating experience.
Yes.
Um, so came
Yes.
back, things are going well.
Yeah.
And I'm headed
Well,
to BC this summer on
oh,
vacation.
oh, wait, there you go. So yes, you can, yes, travel out
Yeah.
where you,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Exactly.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could appreciate that. And COVID even just, was so isolating in and of itself, but then being
Hmm.
farther away from family and, and being farther away from good friends, it's almost like you're isolated within isolation. And then like
Yes.
further isolated within your experience. And then, you're almost just this like tiny
Yeah.
little island that,
Absolutely.
yeah, I imagine just like would have exaggerated everything to, yeah.
It was really intense, honestly. It
Hmm.
was, it was very intense. I'm still probably trying to like put the words to it. I think
Hmm.
one of the benefits, I did get a dog in
Oh,
December, or she was
ah.
born in December of 2020, so I paid COVID premium puppy prices.
Yeah.
But she showed up in February of 2021, and it was the hardest and best thing I think I did for
Oh,
myself in my grief.
okay.
Um, she's like my best friend now. She's so wonderful and awesome, and the company is
Yes.
like,
Yeah.
incomparable, to really anything else.
Yes.
But also having a puppy, being, a year
Yeah.
into bereavement, um, it was really hard.
Hmm. Puppies are a lot
Yeah,
at the best of
puppies are
times.
a lot. Yes,
Yes.
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 Um,
Yes,
so
totally.
whenever her like behavior is a little much now, I'm like, sorry guys, like her mom was completely dysregulated. She's dysregulated parent in childhood. We're still working on it.
Uh, you you said that there's quite a focus right now, going back to the grief piece, on
Mm-hmm.
like children's grief. Um,
Mm-hmm.
where what do you think is driving that? Like, why are we just now starting to think,
I think it's like it's been a quite a few people in the industry really
okay,
advocating for a very long time,
hmm,
and been investing in this work for a long enough period that we actually have like longitudinal data about
okay,
the impact of bereavement on children, as well
okay,
as the benefit of programming for them.
okay,
Um,
got you.
yeah.
Yes, so it's yes, okay, so it's just some some persistent voices.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
And
Okay.
research.
Yeah.
Yes, which is great. Like, you know, you probably know this very well, but like for a kid to feel different than their
Mm,
peers is like one of the worst things for
totally.
kids. And
Yes.
having the death of a sibling or a parent or, somebody
Yeah.
else really close to you, like, and having like the big feelings, thoughts, and sensations that come with that, like,
Yes.
can be really isolating for a kid.
Yes.
So there are a lot of great programs across
Yes.
the country.
Mm.
I love if there were more, but for
Mm-hmm.
kids to just like, do grief with other kids and be like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, I'm not alone in this. And,
Yes.
yeah. And then also like
Yeah.
teaching the adults around them that, like, it's not a life sentence for a kiddo, right? There's
Mm-hmm.
a lot we can do to support young people to still have really big, wonderful, meaningful lives, even if there is somebody
Yeah.
physically missing,
Yes.
from their, you know,
Yes.
family, whether that's family of origin, chosen family, all that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that being because when you mention, just that like difference from peers, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like definitely because, I think younger children in particular, right? Like at their best, they're trying to figure out how to be a good friend,
Yeah.
let alone when it's like something big and they actually can't conceptualize it in the same
Yeah.
way. Um,
Yeah.
but then for like the adults in those kids' lives
Mm-hmm.
who maybe are like grieving themselves,
Yeah.
or, I think of like teachers who are so present, right? But maybe
Yeah.
have no idea what to say, like, best of
Yeah.
intention, want them to be okay, but like just don't know what to say and don't want to make it worse. Or,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that education piece too must
Mm-hmm.
be, I would imagine, very important.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is
for
there
sure.
if someone's listening and they know a young person who or a child who has experienced a loss or is grieving,
Mm.
but maybe worry like how, well, it just happened. Should they start counseling now? Or like, is
Mm-hmm.
there a perfect like window of time, or is it
Mm.
something if a parent's like, this happened a few years ago and I wasn't in a place to set them up and now I worry that I've like
Mm.
missed,
Sure.
what would you
Yeah. I mean, I
advise?
think I think, if someone's listening to this, like the best time is before a death happens.
Mm.
If you
Okay.
can,
Yeah.
like we talked about how, like, death and grief is kind of like taboo in our culture. Like
Mm.
kids don't have that, right? They don't have that awareness of like what's okay to say and what's not okay to say. So
Yes.
like having conversations about like even just like the science of death, like what
Mm.
happens, if out in
Okay.
I grew up rurally, like, on a farm. There are, dead
Okay.
things happened,
Yes.
like there's more of a comfort with it, just to even talk about like, okay, what happens when a body dies? Like the heart stops
Mm.
beating, the body doesn't feel any pain, the brain like doesn't send signals to like your organs, no blood pumps through, yada yada. um I think we, like, as adults,
Mm.
we get really caught up in like the spiritual stuff, and then we're afraid of saying the
Right.
wrong thing about, like, belief
Yes.
systems about what happens after death.
Yes.
Best practices always go to the science.
Mm. Just
um
fact.
just facts. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. And then
Mm.
in terms of getting support, and there's also
Mhm.
like there's so many great books out there now too.
Mm.
So there's a book called I
Okay.
Found a Dead Bird. um
Oh,
and there's a book called When Dinosaurs Die.
yes. Okay.
um
I've heard of that one.
great
Yeah.
great great resources to talk about death and dying with kids.
Okay.
And then in terms of getting support, children's grief, or bereaved kids, what bereaved kids need the most is adults that they can trust to have open and honest conversations with them.
Mm.
That's really like the crux of grief work with kids. It's
Okay.
someone that they know, like, if they ask a question, you're going to tell them the truth even if you don't know the answer.
Mm.
um and so
Okay.
getting as many adults in a kid's life like that,
Yeah.
the better the outcome for that bereaved kid. So in the beginning,
Okay.
like, that's what like children's grief work looks like. It's about relationship building. It's about
Yeah.
creating space to have brave conversations, wonderings, curiosities about,
Yes.
what's cancer? Why did mommy get cancer? Am
Yes.
I going to get cancer?
Yes.
Who's going to take care of me if dad dies of cancer too?
Right.
And having
Yes.
space for those conversations. That's really like what children's grief work is. So
Mm-hmm.
in best case scenario, that children feels like wrapped with adults that they can trust as early as possible. But
Yeah.
there's no wrong time to do that either. If it has
Right.
been, 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, 12 years
Yeah.
for that
Can
kiddo
still
to like,
happen.
it can absolutely still happen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And fact, like, an honest fact-based conversations, that because I
Mhm.
feel like sometimes, parents or adults with kids, like, we just want them to be okay. So
Yeah.
there can be the, like, well, just, oh, you don't have to worry about that. Or,
Yeah.
you know, that sort of blanket reassurance, right? Which is like
Mhm.
so well intentioned, because we
100%.
just want you to feel okay. Like, don't worry about that or that.
Yeah.
But they are worrying about it.
Yes. And they often, sometimes kids are so protective of their parents, which is why like having,
Mm.
you know, a therapist or some sort of like grief program that they go to can be really meaningful for that kiddo to like ask the questions so that they're not upsetting their bereaved parent
Right.
as
Yeah,
well.
it's because then there's the protection of seeing a parent or adult already kind of struggling and not wanting to
Yes,
add to.
exactly.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Can you hear
Honest
dog
fact.
barking?
No.
Okay.
No, I can't at all.
I'm going to have to like cut this out just 1 second.
Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
Ren, Ren, are you going to come up? You need to stop barking. Um,
What's your dog's name?
it's Renegade,
Renegade. I love
but I
that.
call her Ren for short.
Oh, I love it. Renegade.
Yeah.
Good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I had another thought on that.
Oh, sorry. Hmm.
That's okay. So yeah, having space to have an honest conversation
Yeah.
is really important and have their questions answered. But I think it's really important to know that if you don't have the answer, it's okay. And it's okay
Mm.
to like tell your kiddo that,
Right.
right? And it's okay to be like, hey, I don't know the answer to that question, but maybe at your next doctor's appointment, we can ask the doctor about that
Right.
thing.
Yes.
Or we can, kids are really great about asking tough questions before they go to bed. Being like,
Yeah.
that's a great question.
Always.
Tomorrow at breakfast, I'm going to get out my phone and we'll
Hmm.
Google the answer to that question
Hmm.
for you.
Hmm. Yes.
Um, but
Yes.
then more to the point of like, soothing the worryings. I think another big piece about grief work, especially with kids, is like, and the most difficult thing to watch for adults is kids having the big feeling, but
Hmm.
letting them have it,
Hmm.
right? Like that's what teaches resilience. And yeah, I do this work with adults too. It's like,
Hmm.
I'm not trying to erase any of the pain that you are carrying.
Yeah.
I see part of my job is like creating a container where you feel safe enough to feel that pain so you can prove to yourself that you will
Yeah.
survive it.
Yes.
Right? So you're building resilience within them to be able to do hard things because they're going to face hard things in life. Unfortunately, this is not the only person in their life who is going to die. It's
Hmm.
not the only change that they are going to experience.
Yeah.
And so helping them, create the
Yeah.
conditions to feel what comes with that
Yes.
change, that death of the person sets
Hmm.
them up for more success in the future, knowing that, hey, I'm going to feel these big feelings, but at the end of the day, I'm still going to be here and I'm going to be okay. And there's
Yes.
people around me that love me.
Yeah. 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 So giving space to, like, yeah, like, really deeply feel it. And
Yeah.
then be like, and then I was okay. Like, I got
Yeah.
through that, or like I managed that.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Yeah.
And it's actually like
Mm.
it's remarkable to watch a kid do that, honestly. Like it can be
Mm.
scary at first, like what comes up, but kids
Yeah.
are we call it like puddle jumping. There's a great quote, I'm gonna butcher it, but something to the effect of like, for adults, when we feel a wave of grief, it's like we're standing in the middle of a river. And for
Okay.
kids, it's more like puddle jumping. So when they're in the puddle, it
Mm.
feels like the river, but they can so quickly regulate and jump out and like go play with their friends.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The transition time is
Mm.
so much shorter than an adult.
I like that imagery of it. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think they do process it differently.
They
And I
absolutely
think
do.
sometimes that like trips up adults too, because there's
Yeah.
this sense of like we impose how we think grief should look or a
Mm-hmm.
timeline we think grief should have, and like we put it
Yeah.
on them. And
Yeah.
it's like, but that, yeah, really depending on their age, you know, development, understanding all the things like past experiences, like it's not,
Yeah.
I heard it once around like kind of like trees, in forests
Mm.
and
Mm-hmm.
how with kids, sometimes their forests are still so early that like
Mm.
the roots aren't quite as entangled, and so they can
Oh.
like that they can sometimes see things a little more simplistically because they're not all like mm, interconnected with each other so much. Or as adults, sometimes it
Yeah.
gets complicated
Yeah.
because we just branch onto all these other things that it comes up
Mm-hmm.
with. But it, yeah, this idea of like grief should look a certain way, I think is really
Yeah.
hard for bereaved people.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely. It's where you get caught up and they're like, I think I'm doing it wrong or they're doing it wrong,
Yeah, yeah.
right? When yeah, it's so unique to every human being.
So in this like Western world of, let's just not talk about it because it'll
Yeah.
never happen and just like keep going, going, going.
Yeah.
Live for that retirement age. Um, and then you can start living. Um,
Yeah.
what like what would you change if you could like change the way we do things,
Hmm.
either like systemically across like workplace or I don't know, like what are we missing? Or if you could be like, if we just did this, that would be
Mm.
a start to like changing this grief to be more grief literate
Mm.
or more grief supportive. I don't, what do we?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know if there's a simple answer to that. I mean, I think I would start maybe with more like formal ritual. Like I think that's what other
Hmm.
cultures like do really, really well. Like,
Okay.
if you look at like in Mexico, like the Day of the Dead,
Yes.
right? Like it's a one time a year where you
Yeah.
talk about the people who have died in a
Hmm.
way like they're still in the room.
Hmm. And
Um
celebration. Like it's
and
like,
celebration.
hmm.
Yeah. Yeah,
Hmm.
I think that would maybe like open the doors a little bit more if there was like some like widespread
Hmm.
punctuated moment to do that.
Yes. Yeah.
um but then I also think like
Mm.
it just like more ritual in general. Like I think we have this um how do I put it, like we used to have longer mourning periods, right? When you
Okay.
think about how like someone would like,
Mhm.
was widowed during the war and they would like wear an armband or something. There was like some sort of like
Yep.
representation of like, hey, I'm going through this thing, like I need a little more help right now.
Yes.
um but we don't
Yeah.
necessarily have that anymore.
Yeah.
um Even like the
Hmm.
rituals that we do have are planned like 6 months out, like a year out, and we don't have this like collective
Hmm.
like coming together to like do grief together anymore.
Hmm.
It's become more of like an individualist thing,
Hmm.
or we'll
Hmm.
say like, oh, don't have a funeral for me or something, like throw a party like
Yes.
8 months later, which is totally fine and their prerogative. But like I think mourning and ritual are not
Yeah.
necessarily, yes, they are in memory of the person who died, but they also have a huge utility for those who are left behind,
Hmm.
right? To like bring them together, to
Hmm.
remember together, to lean on one another.
Yes.
Um, And so when we don't have that opportunity, I think a lot of people, you know, suffer behind
Mm-hmm.
closed doors because they feel like they're doing the right thing
Mm-hmm.
because that's what their person told them they wanted. But at the same
Mm-hmm.
time, it's like those those rituals are for the people who are left behind to connect with
Mm-hmm.
one another.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think
Yes.
I would really lean into that, to be very honest. And I would lean into it in a way that's
Yeah.
like not exclusively celebration of life. I think we hear, you hear the term
Mm-hmm.
celebration of life and it's like it's this big happy party and like nobody cries. But I think like doing big feelings together is really meaningful.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
So
that's
yeah.
I guess maybe the takeaway is I want people to do more big feelings together in
Yes.
person.
Yes.
Yes.
Honest sharing,
Yeah. Yeah.
vulnerability,
Yes.
just like being where we're at.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I both really like that idea and also think we probably have a ways to go to get people comfortable with being with doing it.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And I
Yeah.
think, that starts like we have come a long way in terms of mental health and people being
Hmm.
really honest about like where they are
Absolutely. Yes.
and where they want to be.
Yeah.
And I think that, that helps us along the way for sure.
Yes.
Um, so
Yeah.
I think we're
Yeah.
we're 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 headed there. We might have a little ways to go, but I'm optimistic.
But we're getting there. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and you know, people like yourself in the spaces that you are now too,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like it's needed, and I think like creating more opportunity for those conversations too of,
Yeah.
say let's talk about it.
Yeah.
And I think
And it
yeah.
doesn't necessarily have to be like let's talk about death, right? It can just simply be like let's talk about the people who died,
Mhm.
right? Let's talk about these people
Yes.
who I wish were here who are not right now.
Yes.
And like the more
Yes.
you do that, like there's actual
Mhm.
science that says it fosters more resilience in grief. It's called like continuing bonds theory. And
Mhm.
it actually works. Like it actually
Mhm.
works. I can
Mhm.
like speak for myself. Like, so Will died like 6.5 years ago now. And
Mhm.
it is, I have no apprehension about bringing him up in any conversation, like
Mhm.
with anyone, because the people around me, when I was brave enough to be like, oh, I have a Will story about this, or like, I want to talk about my grief,
Yeah.
like it was never denied.
Yeah.
And I think like I, where
Mhm.
I am now, I owe a lot to the people who were brave enough to sit with me through the really hard stuff.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, now like half the time I'm not even bringing him up in conversation, it's other people doing it. And it's
Yeah.
so
Yes.
cool because it's like
Yes.
he's still around, like his memory is still here, there's still like an energy and a legacy that like he left.
Mhm.
And it's really powerful
Mhm.
to to sit back and look at that and be like, wow, like
It's cool.
I it is,
Mhm.
it's really cool.
It is really cool. Yes.
Yeah.
And what a special group of friends and family that you have
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
do that.
They're really great. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
What I will ask people is because the idea of this podcast was exception seeking of just that, we so often get like kind of stuck in the way we see things or this is how it's supposed to be. And,
Mhm.
talking with people like yourself who, either did it a certain way and then saw a gap or something missed or just, found their own path in a way.
Yeah.
And I'm always curious, you know, where that confidence, um, bravery, I don't know, came from
Mm.
to do that. Because that also takes some courage to say, I'm going to do it a little differently or try something new, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, it's a good question. I will probably go back to um such a white girl answer.
I
um,
can't wait to hear it now.
so I will give the origins of this like trait of myself
Okay.
credit to Elizabeth Gilbert, who's the author of Eat, Pray, Love.
Oh, mhm.
And so I read Eat, Pray, Love when I was 25, and
Okay.
I ended a 6-year relationship that if I hadn't seen a person choosing another path
Yeah.
and like walking us like through like the behind the scenes of like making that choice,
Yeah.
that it's okay to like want something different.
Yes.
I don't know if I would have met Will, if I would have this life
Mm.
that I have today. I might be like married with 3 kids and really unhappy
Right.
in like some suburb.
Okay.
um and
Yeah.
so like I I wrestle with this often because I am a bit of a person who, if it's not working, I will change,
Mm.
which is gets exhausting sometimes, for sure. But I
Yes.
also, I, courage is one of my core values, and so I'm not afraid of doing it differently if
Mhm.
that's what's going to be best for me. Um,
Okay.
yeah, that's
Yeah. Just not accepting mediocrity. I like,
or just like
yeah.
not accepting like
Yeah.
boredom, to be
Yes.
honest, or like not
Yes.
accepting that like it has to be done one way and that's the right way.
Hmm.
And I think honestly that's part of grief as well, and recognizing that like everyone's grief is different, and the way that you're going to get through it, and this is why I love the work that I do, is that everybody kind of chooses their own path, or like I help them figure out the path of least resistance for them. And
Yeah.
oftentimes it's kind of like relinquishing the expectations that you had for yourself in this moment
Yes.
of your life, and
Yes.
then like slowly rebuilding in a way that feels meaningful to you.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um,
And yes. And I imagine in there too a bit of like letting go of, the expectations of others on us too, of what
100%.
we, yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's grief in itself there, right? Of like, hey, I thought I would be married with kids by
Yes.
32, and I'm not.
Yes.
And you sit with that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like you gave yourself space to like recover from like the real intensity of
Mm-hmm.
this like really traumatic thing that happened to you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay to do that work.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's cool that
Um,
it was a book in a way
yeah.
that sparked, the I think it's like it's interesting what hits us as meaningful and like at what stages we're in when, when it does. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I will say it was the book, it was not the movie.
Yeah. Okay, good. The books are always better anyways.
Books are always
I
better
mean,
anyway.
come
Yeah.
on. Yeah.
I only watched the movie like 2 years ago, and I'm like, oh no, this is not the book.
Yeah, it's always, yeah. Books are always better. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when you look at what you're doing right now, is there anything coming up that you're like planning or interested in seeing where the field develops or things that get you excited about the space you're in?
That's a great question. I don't know if like at the broad landscape there's anything that like I think it's all going really well, and I'm
Mhm.
excited to, see where it goes in the future. Personally, I have a few exciting things that I'm working on. I'm working on a couple more books actually,
Oh yeah.
which
Okay.
is exciting.
That is exciting.
They're like there's a memoir that's about halfway done, and then there's a couple other like more like thematic self-help books that are in the early
Wow.
stages, which I'm really excited about. And then I'm
Yes.
also, um, we talked a lot about BC here, and
Hmm.
I think like early on in my grief, like I became really detached from this like part of me that was very outdoorsy and active, mostly because we talk about secondary losses, like that was
Mm-hmm.
something that Will and I did, and it was like such a
Yeah.
meaningful part of our shared relationship that it
Yes.
was it was kind of too painful to touch.
Yes.
I've in the past few years gotten back into it, and it feels really good
Mm.
again, which is
Yeah.
really lovely. And
Yeah.
so I'm hoping, in the next little bit to incorporate that more into my work as well, whether that's in the form of retreats,
Yeah.
and things, but
Yes.
that's coming in the future as well. And I'm really excited about it.
Oh, well, those are all very exciting. I hope you'll please keep me posted because I will want to know.
Absolutely.
I will want to know more. Yes.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
You heard it here first.
I heard it. Yes, exactly. And we'll put up links and things and people can find you if they're interested in learning more or they want to reach out for support or find your book. Yeah.
Amazing.
That'll be great. Aly, thank you so much for chatting today and sharing and for doing what you do. Thanks for listening to Exception Seekers. Tune in again as we continue to seek overlooked stories that offer new perspectives, disrupt limiting beliefs, and inspire transformative approaches to nurturing youth mental health.
This podcast was produced by North Star Networks, the guiding light for progressive media.